let go. You're good.
All right, so this is the Casio Prism. It's the 2011 CES Innovations Award winner for personal electronics and education. It's the world's first full-color graphing calculator. It has 65,000 colors. It's a full 16-bit color. It has a high-resolution display, 384 by 216. The introduction of color and a high-resolution screen allow us to take common activities such as just the drawing of a graph. Here's a simple graph of a parabola, and as I trace along the curve, because I can display 14 times the information than I can on any other graphing calculator, I can do things like mark points on the curve. I can create shading that actually looks like something as opposed to just a bunch of bars going across the screen when you have low res. Let's change the type and convert this to an inequality. Then when we draw, we see the ability to shade. When I shade something that has where I'm interested in the area of overlap, let's do +3, and let's change that type back. There I can see my dotted line coming across, and I see a really nice area where we have overlap. We're overlapping colors just like we've all done with crayons since the 3rd grade. Okay, very easy to see. When I introduce color into things like spreadsheets, here's an example where a student polled their class and determined how many students had blue eyes, green eyes, and brown eyes. But what I've done is similar to what we might see in Excel. I've color-coded the text. And so now when I go and I create a pie chart of this data, the pie chart pieces are color-linked to the colors of the text. But the real power of having all of this color technology at our disposal is that I can actually display photographic images on the calculator. So what we see here is there are 47 pre-stored pictures on the Prism unit. These were chosen by a team of US math teachers because they cover the whole math curriculum and each of them is mathematically rich. Teachers will be able to load their own content on the Prism via USB and create their own lesson plans based on their own pictures. But we can use the pre-stored images to get an example of that. This is actually a whole set of pre-stored images called a Flipbook. And so if we play through this, where this comes from is a fish. It's jumping from one fishbowl into another. Of course, the fish is a projectile when it's in the air, which means it's exhibiting parabolic motion and a predictable mathematical path. I've gone through and I've actually plotted points along the fish's path. And once I plot those points, I can do a couple of things. I can draw the fish's path by doing a mathematical regression, but also we have the element of time going on here. So now if we switch hats from mathematics to physics, I can go and do an axis translation. I'm going to translate versus the y-axis and time. So here on the left side, you see we've split the screen and we have our original image. And on the right side, we have a graph showing the fish's y position versus time, which allows us to see that the fish's vertical position is quadratic. I can also go back and translate the fish's position of x versus time. So I can now see that the fish's horizontal position versus time has a linear relationship, which shows me both that the two elements of motion are independent, and it also shows me that the fish has a constant velocity in the x direction. So we can go from the very simple of creating nice, colorful graphs for a high school math classroom to getting into some higher order physics and even carrying us into college mathematics. So this is the Prism. It's available for $130 MSRP. It's currently available in Best Buy stores. We'll be going to more retail outlets as we get to Back to School 2011, and it's widely available online.
So that's going to be competing with Texas Instruments calculators.
That's right.
That's
However, it's competing
pricing.
with it at the same price point.
Yeah.
So if you hold this up next to a TI black and white calculator, it'll be like holding an iPod Touch up next to a Walkman, putting them in at the same price and asking which one you want to buy.
Now, it has USB connectivity. What can you export things from this?
Yes. This has 16 megabytes of flash memory, and every Prism that's sold in the package comes with a USB. It's just simple A to B cable. Okay. When you plug it into your computer, platform independent, your computer recognizes this as if it were a flash drive. which means there's no third-party software necessary.
Nice.
You're just dragging and dropping files. Okay. If I plug this into a computer, I can press the Shift key and then the number 7, which says Capture. That allows me to screen capture, and it creates a screen capture that's a JPEG image, so I can take a screen capture and do whatever I like with it, publish it, print it. Also, the USB connection allows us to connect to Casio LCD projectors directly. So what you see back here on the screen, that's actually an image coming from a Prism right now. That Prism is connected to the projector.
Nice.
A student can walk up in class and plug into the projector, and without hitting any buttons, their screen dominates whatever the teacher was doing, and the student is now leading the class. And that's not just a freeze frame, that's a live image, and so the student can actually manipulate, and everybody else can see what they're doing on their calculator.
All right.